Welcome back to the Epic Web3 podcast. I'm Alex, co-founder of Epic Web3. We make events for Web3 builders globally. Our next events are in Brussels during ETC, and our guest today is Rushi Manche, co-founder of Movement Labs, the developer behind Movement, which is a network of modular move-based blockchains. Rushi, Gmove, how is it going?
Gino, thanks for having me, Alex. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, connecting from New York right now.
Yep. Well, most of us are based in SF, but I like to spend my time between New York and SF. It's super exciting week for us, so we're doing some events in New York this week.
Good. So you have just announced that you've raised 38 million Series A from Polychain Capital and other prominent investors, including Sandeep, Stani, and others. So first of all, congrats on that. That's huge, I think. So can you tell us what was your main pitch? What did you tell investors?
Yeah, I think generally our thesis was, for context, I can maybe do introduction here, right? So I'm Rushi, co-founder. My background is engineering. Really involved in distributed systems, cryptography, and cybersecurity early on. Post FTX, I really got into the Aptos ecosystem and was an early DEX builder and was a grassroots community. I came from the community within Move and realized there were some issues in smart contract development. I built in the EVM in the past, and it's quite awful. There's over $4.5 billion lost in smart contract hacks every year. Gas fees are ridiculous on the EVM and single-threaded virtual machines. There's actually no way to scale execution while still living on Ethereum. So we took a step back, looked at Move VM, and was like, "This is exciting, right?" Facebook, the biggest consumer app in the world, built a Move, built the language, and we're all trying to get Facebook on chain. So the question is, how do we get Facebook on chain while still living in Ethereum, making Web3 native? So the movement thesis was started, which is the first Move EVM layer 2 on Ethereum. It's a Move and Ethereum virtual machine combined into one, living on Ethereum at $0 layer 2. So taking all the lessons that we learned from the DM project and bringing it to Ethereum to really scale environments.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining this. So why do you think? What is the main reason why investors believed in you, your team, your project?
I think the community, right? Like ultimately, technology is technology. It's a question of like, how do you scale it and get adoption. I think one thing that we've done really well is our marketing, go-to-market distribution. We have a great community that's very vibrant and really excited to work with us day zero. So that comes into ecosystem projects, that comes into kind of how we're building a narrative. So far, it's been really successful on the go-to-market and business side. Seeing a lot of great activation from community members, especially in Korea, Southeast Asia, kind of Latin America regions, and we're really excited to work with them.
Nice. That's probably the first answer like this I'm getting. I mean, every founder, every builder loves to talk about his or her tech product, and you say that community and go to market things are probably even more important.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think the ZK EVM kind of was a big lesson to us where users didn't end up really caring as much about the ZK EVM experience. Ultimately, because the OP stack and Optimism and optimistic rollups kind of have a similar user experience to ZK rollups. Obviously, it's like the end game is validity proofs. The user experience eventually will be a lot better. But today, it's not that much different. So really what it comes down to is A, how do you increase user experience? So that's what we have parallelization, embedded security, really focusing on being a secure hub for DeFi. And then the second part is how do we really create vibes on the chain? I think there's not like Ethereum layer twos that have done a good job of building like a degen culture. I think Optimism, Arbitrum probably be the most savage ones. But we're trying to take the charge being next gen L2. So think of like Solana meme coins and Solana crazy like degen culture and bring that to Ethereum where there's liquidity and users.
So what is more important, uh, degens side or builder side? Which marketing is more important?
I think so. I think for short term builders is like you want ecosystem projects where like people can come to the chain ecosystem, build their favorite apps, novel use cases, get supported by the foundation, not have to go through bureaucracy. really create a great network for builders. And then like kind of midterm is creating degen culture. So once you do have the flagship apps, as of today, we actually had our first meme coin go live on top of Movement, which is very exciting. And we're like on DevNet right now, right? So having those people who are willing to experiment, play around the chain, kind of break the chain, is really exciting and kind of creates hype around the ecosystem.
Yeah, and I think many projects try to build community, try to build hype around them, but not all of them succeed. Uh, how do you what was the main thing you did to build this, to actually build this community, even before the main net, before everything?
Yeah, I think what the main thing was like just being grassroots. Me and Cooper were builders. We were part of the community, so you kind of know what community members want. Oftentimes in large layer ones, layer twos, a lot of like oligarchies where the leadership is kind of abstracted away and it's really difficult to contact. Like the foundation, there's a lot of bureaucracy. So we kind of take a step back and wanted to be very grassroots. Like me and Cooper in the discords, we're responding, we're saying G move every morning. So like being very one on one with the builders shows that you actually care about them and you're not just going to dump your token on top of them. And the second thing is actually like how do you like create programs that really incentivize builders? So we have like a building a Parthenon program, we have testnet programs. So like our BA team is extravagant in that we have fleshed out programs where you can join the network, contribute, whether it's like making memes, publishing smart contracts, doing videos. So I think we've learned lessons from like a lot of great inspirations like Monad, Chain, but I think we're doing this on Ethereum, which kind of gives us a unique angle.
Nice, nice. Is your pitch deck private? Can you share it with our listeners?
I think it is private right now, but I can share it. It's outdated, so it's for a pre-seed. So I can send it to you after the call, and you can share it. But
That would
happy
be
to share
nice.
it. Yeah, it's a preset deck, so it doesn't have our actual updated stuff, but we're updating it shortly.
Okay. You raised pre-seed not long ago as well, right? Half a year
Yeah, we
ago.
announced a pre-seed in September, and then we announced the Series A in April.
Good, good. So, can you tell us a little bit about the fundraising process? Is it true that fundraising is a usually founder's full-time job, or in your case, it was easier, quicker? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a full-time job for me. So I'm fortunate to have a great relationship with a co-founder where Cooper was more internal, kind of held on the fort while I was doing most of the investor relations. So it was fully my full-time job to network with investors, meet them, kind of understand the narrative they want, work with a team to like establish good market distribution plans. So like yeah, it was definitely a full-time fundraising. I think it's constantly a full-time job where you're trying to understand markets, trying to understand what the market wants, and kind of guiding the company in a direction where it's more fruitful.
What worked best for you? Personal meetings, conferences, I don't know,
Yeah, I think
outreach, intros.
what really helped me was being based in New York, honestly. New York has the highest concentration of venture capitalists, so if you want to meet up like a firm in person, you're able to go directly in their office and explain your vision. So I think as someone who didn't have a network starting off, like being in New York, kind of networking, going to every happy hour, going to every dinner, meeting the people I wanted to meet, and then from there, like I was able to establish my network and who we liked, and from there, was able to choose the partners that made the most sense.
Yeah. And you are the first time founder, right?
This is my first time founder mostly. I've did some small companies in the past, but none of them like reach escape velocity. This is my first full time company.
Yeah, to be honest, I always thought that it's super hard to raise funds when you're a first time founder, and always when I see the questions like how to raise funds, I always answer like be the second time founder, maybe
Yeah,
make first successful or not very successful project. Um, so, but it turns out that it's also possible if you're a
yep,
first timer, just be in the right place, do the right things and everything.
yep. I think it's just like building trust with investors. So being a second time founder means you just have trust. Like people generally like want to work with you, understand what you're doing, and have a go to market distribution plan for you. But I think if you're a first time founder, it's a lot of questions about, oh, what's their background? Do they have a track record? It creates more doubt. So being in person, explaining to them, and also having good social media presence is really important. So I think one thing that we do really well is like I'm chronically online. I probably tweet maybe 5 times a day. So like explain to the community, explain to investors and the public what our vision is, what we're trying to do, creates that kind of credibility because we're posting what we want.
Good. And how many people are now in your team?
I think we're 27 right now. Probably will hit like 30 over the next few weeks, but I'm trying to float between the 30 35 ballpark. Not trying to hire too fast.
So you're not going to hire like aggressively right now after the closing of the round?
I think we hire where needs are need like you need to have needs. I think like one of the biggest like fail points of a lot of companies is they raise a lot of money and then blitz hire and it creates a lot of bloat within the company. One thing that we try to do is optimize each role before we make a necessary hire. So saying going to each person, doing performance reviews, understanding what they need. So instead of like going out and hiring 50 employees and 25 of them aren't really doing anything, we rather optimize the 27 we have and then scale as we need accordingly.
Okay. 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 Let's talk about movement a little bit. So you're doing three main things, right? So it's M1, M2, move stack. So can you briefly describe what it is, what you're
Yep.
focusing on right now?
Yeah, so general thesis is we want to create a network of execution environments that are interconnected. So if you look at like the optimism, they're like you have optimism, which is the main layer two. You have superchain, which is going to be a shared sequencer, and you have the OP stack for kind of teams to launch their own rollups. I think my general thesis is like all these groups are saying build whatever, right? It's like a modularity, but they're saying use our role framework, use our dealer, use our approver, but then use the EVM, which often point is a bottleneck because the EVM is the bottleneck in terms of execution. So we took a step back and we're like, okay, so M2 is kind of a flagship DeFi hub. It's a main chain. It's for the value crews. We have a shared sequencer that sequences layer two, as well as other layer twos in the network. And then we have an execution layer kit. So anyone can launch their own move rollup, connect to the network, and then do so accordingly. So I think we're really focused on how do we customize execution layer. We're a market of our own where we're focused on execution, where it can be compatible with a Polygon CDK, Polygon roll framework, etc. Use whatever dealer, and we're truly the only execution layer.
Oh yeah. Okay. And looking at the press release about your funding round, it seems like you're focusing mostly on M2 now, which is basically layer two for Ethereum. Is it right?
Yep. So M2 is a layer two on Ethereum. It's a short-term focus and even mid-term focus. This bringing the Move virtual machine, which is from the DM ecosystem and DM project, to Ethereum, as well as bringing even compatibility.
Yeah, we in Epic Web3 we love L2s. We had many L2 founders in our pod. We are even organizing a dedicated L2 con during ETC. But the question I'm asking all of the L2 builders is like how do you see the future of L2 landscapes, and how many actual L2s does the industry need? How do you think?
Yeah, I think like everyone's saying like, oh, there's a new L2 every day, right? And to be honest, they're kind of right. But the issue is that there are no differentiation. Everyone's launching the same EVM, OP stack, maybe all DA L2. It's not different than any other 20 or 30 other L2s that exist in the market. So when we take a step back, we look at what is the differentiator here in today's rollup ecosystem. And we took a look at the execution layer. We believe that execution layer on Ethereum is broken, EVM sucks, and it's actually where the value accrues. Most developers aren't interacting with the DA layer every day. They are eventually in support for gas fees, but it's not the user experience they're really interfacing with. dApps aren't deploying directly on the DA layer, deploying on top of rollups on the DA layer. So value really accrues to execution layer, but no one's really customizing it. So that's why we took a step back, customized execution layer, understood that the EVM has backwards compatibility, and we want to support EVM ultimately, which is why we call it Move AVM. But there's alternatives to the virtual machine, which is why we're bringing Move to the forefront.
So you like the main reason for developer to build on top of M2 is that is based on Move, right? Which
Yep.
is much better programming language. Can you elaborate on that? So why Why do you think that move is so good?
Yeah, so there's two main reasons. It's performance and security. On the performance side, you have Block SCM, which is the main kind of optimistic parallelization engine. It's what Mana has been off of. It's what Aptos and Sui have kind of, or Aptos specifically has used. It's basically a high throughput parallelization, multiple threading process engine. So you're able to do 30,000 plus transactions per second. If you have a high activity, like a lot of activity on one thread, doesn't affect activity on another thread. So you can have localized C markets, which I'm happy to get into as well. And second side, which is the main differentiator and kind of what we focus on, is security. Every year, there's $4.5 billion lost in smart contract hacks, especially in the EVM. Move has built-in compilers, Move Prover, essentially the ability to check for resource, type, and memory safety at runtime. So when you execute smart contracts, it says, hey, is there integer overflow? Is there mempool mishap? Is there memory safety leaks? And then only executes the code if there is smart contract security built in. So the combination of those two things enables us to have the fastest and most secure execution environment on Ethereum.
Are this main problem of EVM? So you mentioned that EVM is broken, EVM execution is bad. So are these main problems, or are there some other ones?
Yeah, so even execution is flawed. I think another main thing is for a lot of L2 sequencers are flawed. Most sequencers can't handle more than 100 transactions per second. They kind of break at 100 TPS. So the question is, how do you create a decentralized sequencer? There's a few groups that try to do it, but they often try to do it as like a B2B play. So you'll have a shared sequencer that wants to sell those services to the layer two. We're really taking a step back and saying, why don't we just embed it into layer two itself? So M1 is our flagship shared sequencer. You have 100 plus nodes that take turns in terms of sequencing layer two, as well as a layer two network. So that allows us to create a fully decentralized, high uptime, and end-to-end user experience. So that's one thing to the performance, as well as the tokenomics. Most L2 tokens are fundamentally meme coins. With the decentralized shared sequencers, validators can actually stake tokens to participate in sequencing, which enables them to have buy pressure for the token. So for a lot of these L2s, there's no actually valid pool mechanism for the token besides governance, which doesn't make sense. We have a staking hub for our token built in.
Okay. Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit on on your tokenomics?
I don't think we haven't released tokenomics publicly, but rest assured it'll be community driven. We're making sure that a lot of the mistakes that earlier blockchains did, we will not. We'll incentivize neural builders. We have a lot of great tokenomics programs coming up, so I encourage you to stay in the Discord. We're announcing and building the Parthenon program where if you're an artist, if you're a meme maker, if you're a developer, no matter what you do, you can participate in the network, and you'll earn a lot of rewards for that, which should be great.
Okay, okay. What do you think about other Rust-based languages or framework? Because it looks like everyone in the industry is inventing their own programming language. Uh, Fuel has Sway, Aztec has Noir, Meta invented Move. Uh, all of them are Rust-based. Rust-based. All of them has something specific. So what do you think of different programming languages?
Yeah, I think like there's going to be a lot of innovation. So you have like Solana VM and Move VM, which are the main two execution environments. Solana VM obviously has more maturity, given Solana has longer track record. Move VM is more focused on security, and I think both of them will do well. Move is often considered the next cycle after SVM, so it's really exciting to see the work that Apple and Sui are doing propagating that. I think after that it gets a little bit tricky. There's a few other groups that tried like Cairo and other Rust-based languages, and it's really difficult to get developer adoption. I generally think you only have one miracle in crypto, which either means build a chain or build a programming language or yeah. So for a layer two like ourselves, we don't want to focus on doing BD for the language. We actually inherit that from Aptos and Sweep, which both have raised $300 million. They have a combined like $15 billion market cap. So they're really focused on move adoption, move developer growth. And we take a step back and we're saying they will probably do the developer work and we'll also work as a dev with them. But we're really focused on bringing the learnings they do to Ethereum where they're really focused on scaling language, doing developer adoption for the language, and we're focused on bringing the go-to-market to Ethereum. So I would say it's actually complementary to the existing layer ones, where they're focused on the layer one tokenomics, the layer one go-to-market, and we're focused on kind of driving that to Ethereum.
Okay. Okay. And do you think it Move gets good adoption among developers, and will it be growing further?
Yeah, so I think has a shot to kind of encompass everything, which is why I would say move everywhere with movements. Um, so there's two main things to our stack. You have fully even compatibility. So even if you don't write move, even if you believe that move isn't great, you can still write even contracts, still write solidity as part of a go-to-market and distribution. And the second thing on that is on move, it's actually a language obviously built by Facebook, but it's very intuitive to pick up. For example, when I was in college, it was so easy for me to write account checks. It only took like 8 lines of code versus like SVM for 2 pages, and kind of the EVM took forever to debug. So the combination of like ease of access, Web 2 ties, and honestly like intuitiveness to pick up a language allows Move to kind of excel, especially for developer groups that never really existed before.
And what do you think of a future of EVM and Solidity?
I think EVM will always exist. That's the unfortunate truth. Where like if you want to use Curve, Aave, Uniswap, EVM is like pretty good for that. Like, if you want to use Lido, it's pretty good on EVM, right? The way we look at it is if you want the future of consumer DeFi and social apps probably won't be scaling on EVM. For example, if you're building like a consumer app or a social app, the EVM taps at 100 TPS. So you can only do 100, 200 transactions per second unless you're using Monad, EVM, and some other groups, obviously. But the traditional EVM can't scale. So if you're trying to build Facebook on chain, it's literally impossible. That's why Facebook had to build their own language. So the future of such social consumer apps has to be on next gen virtual machine. And then taking a step back on the DeFi side, I think like if you're trying to build like an order book or a permissionless system, right now, if you're building a novel ecosystem, it probably shouldn't be on mainnet Ethereum. Gas fees are too high. It's really difficult to scale, and there's a lot of crowded markets. If you're trying to kind of innovate, come to a new chain, establish your own branding, show why you're the most secure DeFi app, um, that's the movement.
Okay. Can you also explain a little bit about parallelization? So you mentioned that it's one of the Move advantages. Can you explain a little bit about that? How does it work?
Yeah, so MoveVM has built-in block STM, which is kind of the pioneering parallelization engine for optimistic parallelization. So Solana VM has like not optimistic parallelization, so it takes a lot of time to kind of figure out how you manage state for different transactions. Optus VM actually handles that within runtime. So you're actually able to focus on, okay, um, I want to make sure that if I'm a developer, I don't need to worry about how transactions are clashing and how even the transaction parallelized. So Block STM introduces optimistic parallelization to the system, which is really high throughput, low latency, multi-thread execution. And then we're bringing the Block STM pattern to Ethereum within the Move VM.
Okay, okay. Thanks for explaining. And I also read about zero knowledge fraud proofs, which you are going to move to custom built validity proof network. Can you tell a little bit about this?
Yeah, so we started off with two main things, right? We wanted to be a validity proof ZK network. We believe that ZK is the future, but proving costs are way too high for next gen VMs. Even if it charges 1 cent per transaction, that's still very, very expensive, especially because our transaction fees are 3 to 4 cents on Ethereum. So keeping that in mind, it doesn't really make sense for us to use a full validity proof network. Rather, we use fraud proofs. So it uses zero knowledge fraud proofs, which has challenge periods built into it, as well as having ZKPs. So that enables us to have quicker withdrawal times, only use ZKPs when necessary, and also still have better decentralization. So in terms of throughput and decentralization, ZKPs, especially fraud proofs, are better.
Okay. Uh, so, one more question I wanted to ask here. So there are a lot of infrastructure protocols, blockchains, layer twos. Everyone is building something good, something novel. Uh, One of the main UX problems in crypto, like my normie friends encounter when they try using blockchain, is they want to pay in USDT or USDC, and they need to pay gas in native token of the blockchain, and it's not intuitive at all. So when do you think it will be solved, and what infrastructurally do we need to solve it?
Yeah, so we'll have a native token of ETH. We're not going to use a native token for actual gas fees. We believe that if you're using Ethereum layer 2, the best UX is simply bridging from mainnet and not requiring people to swap over to your native token. So ETH will be your gas fee, and then the staking token will be your native token. So that kind of addresses the bottleneck. So I would agree that a lot of these users don't want to have the time to like bridge with another like layer 0 wormhole, kind of swap, have multiple different wrapped assets, and then you might lose your tokens, honestly. So keep it simple. Layer 2 on Ethereum, bridge over ETH, and then use ETH as gas fee.
Yeah, but is it possible, like maybe even better to pay gas in the same currency you're making a transaction? So if I pay in USDC, I wanna pay commission like fee
Yep.
gas fee in USDC, and do you think it should be possible?
So it's like if you're saying like if you're bridging from ETH to USDC, use USDC as gas fee.
No, I mean I just make a transaction. And I wanna send some USDC
Okay.
in I don't know, in some
Yep.
blockchain to my friend, and I want to pay gas in this same USDC. I think that's the key one of the main steps the industry should do in a way
Yep.
to mass adoption.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is A, we're working at that at a layer 2 level. A lot of the apps we're working with are now implementing that. So let's say, for example, you're sending money from a wallet from one person to another person. The wallet itself can actually take, let's say, ETH gas fee, and you're sending USDC. You can swap the USDC to ETH in real time and then swap it back. So the wallet itself can handle away all the abstraction away. So we're working with some wallet providers and doing that. And then we're having some modules built directly into our layer 2 itself to really focus on that.
On the Yeah, okay, on the wallet level, I agree. On the infrastructure level, I uh, do you think something like this should be done?
I think so. Like, I know Base is looking at it, and we've done some work on it. I think for us it's a little bit early because we're still on testnet and need to do some more debugging before we get there. But it's definitely important to us, and I think user experience is the utmost important. So I envision by mainnet, we're working with a few providers that will enable us to do that.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about M1 a little bit. You started it as something else, I suppose, and now you're switching it to become a decentralized shared sequencer, right?
Yep, yep. So it started off post FTX. There was only three main ecosystems to do a Rust-based VM. It was like Avalanche, Cosmos, Polkadot. Cosmos didn't really make sense for us at the time because there's no centralized authority and tokenomics were kind of screwed. Polkadot was not doing the best, so time turned to Avalanche where it was EVM compatibility and we could bring Move to EVM. After a few months building, we realized the bottleneck was actually bringing to Ethereum. So we took what we built, starting off as a prototype, and turned it to a shared sequencer. So M1 is a first shared sequencer that powers the rollup on top of Ethereum. So that enables us to scale execution and scale consensus mechanisms for any rollup that joins the network, as well as our flagship rollup. Instead of using one node to sequence the layer two, we actually have distributed sequencing for multiple different nodes.
Yeah, thanks for explaining this. And what is the complete vision behind M1 and M2? So why do you need both in your ecosystem?
Yeah, so we believe that a fully decentralized network needs obviously a layer two that's powering DeFi, gaming, etc., but also can really be decentralized. So the point of the decentralized shared sequencer is to seek decentralized kind of consensus for nodes. So look at Arbitrum, zk Optimism. A lot of those chains tap out like at 100 TPS. They can't promise uptime because it's only one mega node that's sequence layer two. So what happens to a node if it goes down or if kind of the node runner has bad behavior? Then there's no sequencing and the chain actually goes down. While if you have a decentralized sequencer, you have multiple nodes that can take turns of participating in the network. So even if one node goes down, you still have other nodes to help sequence.
Good. What is your main challenge now as a co-founder after raising funds?
I think it's like obviously shipping the chain. Like we're building a very technical, in-depth very ideological project, and there's a lot of moving pieces like even compatibility. There's a shared sequencer. There's a move layer two. It would be easy to just go conduit, Caldera, press launch rollup, and then get a free rollup and launch a token. But we're not really looking at that. We believe in building new rollup softwares that actually have important distribution. So yeah, I think that's where we're at.
When mainnet?
We're targeting this fall.
Good. Good. I think that's it. You answered quickly and very
Yep.
straight to the point. So I asked everything I wanted. Maybe there's something important you wanted to mention, which I didn't ask.
Yeah, I think like generally, obviously there's a big financing round which we're super excited for, but I think there's a few main key takeaways. I think movement's always going to be a community first hub. Like even beyond the tech, I think one thing we prioritize is how do we enable, empower, and kind of instill hope within community members beyond just airdrop farming. We want to be the place where like when me and Cooper were kids, we were looking for a chain that would help us like grow as builders, have a career, we want to be a chain where builders can have their own career, whether that's the fundraising, whether that's the go-to-market distribution. We're really community first ecosystem and chain. That's through our investors, through our backers, and kind of work we're doing personally. And then beyond that, I think what we're looking at is not being predatory. We're not trying to vampire tech the same five devs from Move chains or the same 10 devs from EVM chains. We're trying to bring in new devs to space, which everyone says, obviously. Everyone's like, we want to bring new devs. But I think we have a shot to do so because of the nature of Move. Move was built by Facebook. It was built by Web2 software. And it was built by kind of technologies that we're all excited to bring to Ethereum. And now we have the opportunity to kind of Web3 native it, do a lot of distribution that work that wouldn't have been done before. So yeah, I think that's what we're super excited to work on.
Yeah, nice vision. I like it. Good luck with everything, and I hope everything works well for you. And once again, congrats with the race. Nice talking to you. Thank you, Rushi.
Thanks so much, Alex. I'm looking forward to doing events with you guys.